Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain.
It's time for the glasses off. Yeah, you know why they're not going to call and complain, you rich fucking sociopath? Because they're probably getting evicted from their home. And they don't have a phone to call and complain on, you sick fuck. I mean, the chutzpah, as my grandma would say.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
Steve, if you noticed, they are pretty much backdoor trying to privatize Social Security. This is a tweet from Jeff Stein of the Washington Post. Social Security in turmoil. Social Security Administration website crashed 4 times in 10 days this month. Wonder what happens when you start laying off thousands of workers. Phone service, a mess following Musk-led cuts. Agency no longer has a system to monitor customer experience due to Doge. Major staff exodus. I'll read some of this. Headline, long waits, waves of calls, website crashes. Social Security is breaking down. The Social Security Administration website crashed 4 times in 10 days this month because the servers were overloaded, blocking millions of retirees and disabled Americans from logging into their online accounts. In the field, office managers have resorted to answering phones in place of receptionists because so many employees have been pushed out. Amid all of this, the agency no longer has a system to monitor customer experience because that office was eliminated, and the phones keep ringing and ringing. Then you have, this is from Axios, leaked memo, Doge plots to cut Social Security phone support. So, hey, Granny, Grandpa, if you're watching, get ready for talking to chatbot or AI, not a human, if you could even get that. So, seems to me, Steve, pretty clear cut. Let's just fuck up this program as much as we can, get the masses so disgruntled, so desperate, and then, hey, maybe JP Morgan can help us with Social Security. Maybe McKinsey can run our U.S. McKinsey, the vulture capitalist consultants that Pete Buttigieg was with. Maybe, the private sector could do this better than us since we've fucking taken a chainsaw to it. And that is before they start cutting the benefits. And I promise you that's coming too, under waste, fraud, and abuse. This is, Citizen Kane. I mean, this is Citizen Kane, essentially. And by the way, this does not just apply. Social Security, yes, it's obviously majority seniors. Disabled people are on SSI. In some cases, poor people could get Social Security. Survivor benefits. So it's not just seniors. And without getting into, the young pay for the old in Social Security and all that, I think Steve and I both agree that's bullshit, which I'm sure you'll get to. The bottom line is Trump ran in 2016. I'm going to say something very unorthodox. I'm going to say something very, un-Republican. We're not touching Social Security. We're not touching Medicare. Actually, the government's going to provide health care for the people. That's what he said in interviews. He has said over and over, 2016, 2020, 2024, we're not touching Social Security. You think he doesn't know what Musk is doing? You think he's not giving this? He's not blessing this? I don't know the exact data, but I've been to enough Trump rallies. There's a whole shit ton of MAGA that's on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. This is the start of the AI/privatization apocalypse, folks. And it's going to hit MAGA. It's going to hit liberals, libertarians, and no labels. I also want to play for you the new Mitt Romney / Gordon Gekko. This is Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary. Used to be the head honcho of Cantor Fitzgerald. He got a lot of praise because, a lot of their employees died tragically in 9/11 and how he, persevered to save Cantor Fitzgerald after so many of their employees died. But Cantor Fitzgerald, kind of known also as a dime a dozen corrupt Wall Street institution. But let's play what this billionaire had to say about if Social Security checks are delayed for a little bit.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. Mm-hmm. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining. Mm. And all the guys who did PayPal, like Elon knows this by heart, right? Anybody who's been in the payment system and the process system knows the easiest way to find the fraudster is to stop payments and listen.
Yeah.
Because whoever screams is the one stealing.
It's time for the glasses off. Yeah, you know why they're not going to call and complain, you rich fucking sociopath? Because they're probably getting evicted from their home. And they don't have a phone to call and complain on, you sick fuck. I mean, the chutzpah, as my grandma would say. And your mother-in-law probably wouldn't complain because you'd be able to provide the necessary funds if she missed a Social Security check or two or three or 100. These are the sociopaths running the government. And I'm not saying the Democrats are great. If you watch this channel, you know what I think of the Democratic Party. But Trump has hoodwinked an entire generation of old folks, of young white dudes wearing red hats at rallies, to think he's some type of champion of the working class when he has surrounded himself by fucking Gordon Gekko and all of his spawn. It is the biggest hoodwinking and psychops in American history. It is unbelievable that this guy has the gall to say that. Yes, they would complain. And you know, Steve, we did an economic Hunger Games reporting series. I interviewed a lot of elderly senior citizens. You know how many emails I get from people on SSDI, on Social Security, that are literally like, just have enough from that. If they miss the check, they would not be able to pay rent. If they miss the check, they cannot get groceries. They cannot afford to lose one paycheck. Just fucking vile. This is not just about politics. This is about humanity. This is about right or wrong. They are trying to slash the most popular program in American history, thanks to FDR. So one of the major good things a Democrat has done in the last century. So that, for what? So that we could cut waste, fraud, and abuse, or drain government in the bathtub? We have enough money to cover it all. Modern monetary theory, as Steve would tell you. The government prints money. It's just, I just can't, I can't get over it.
You want me to let me fill the gap here, because this is a really important subject, okay? I'm going to first off take you to Europe momentarily. You'll see why I'm tying this together. Donald Trump has told Europe, you're on your own, basically, okay? So what has Europe done? Europe, which has the euro, has said our normal 3% annual deficit limit is off. We don't have a limit anymore. Now, as long as you're spending on the military, you can spend as much as you want. Okay. So the EU has eliminated the 3% deficit ceiling for all of them to spend on military. Well, who are the big military contractors? Are they French? Are they German? Are they freaking Russian? No, they're in the US. They're Boeing, they're Halliburton, they're all these other companies. And what happens? Because the U.S. has been doing all this stuff, those groups haven't had to spend on their military. They've largely kept it very low and in check. Well, Trump doing this isn't about somehow or another stopping America from being the world's police force. It's about, once again, freeing up markets for big business, including the military industrial complex, to sell goods and services into Europe that previously didn't need it and previously couldn't afford it. Now they've lifted the limit miraculously so that they can now do that. Now, let's flip over to Social Security for a minute. You think they're slashing and burning so they can save money. And that's the ruse. And that's what most people think they're doing. Even if they are wrong, they think that's what they're trying to do. What they're doing is, once again, just like in Europe, they're trying to remove the public element of this, because Wall Street can't win on Social Security if it's still a government-held thing, if you still believe they're paying into it. So by people paying into fucking Wall Street savings accounts, like Paul Ryan once said to Alan Greenspan years ago, this right here has been the plan. And it ain't just Republicans. Hillary Clinton wanted to do this. Joe Biden and Obama wanted to do this, okay? Bill Clinton, all the way back, wanted to do this. This is not some new thing. This has always been flirted with forever. FDR, many, many moons ago, many, many moons ago, instituted FICA, which is the tax that quote unquote pays for Social Security. But all FICA is a spreadsheet. The trust fund is a spreadsheet. Like, you know, when you're tracking traffic in your neighborhood and they got that hose in the road, the tick, 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 the number of cars that go over it. That's all the trust fund is a tick, 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 the number of people that pay a tax into it. There's no money in the trust fund, never has been $1 in the trust fund. It's always new money, always. But because the law is written to give the trust fund authority to make payments, they hold this as the law. So Bernie's out there going, we got to tax the billionaire class to make Social Security solvent. And everybody else is going, oh my God, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. We've got to turn it over to Wall Street so people can really earn a good gain on their investment. So their investment is making them real money, not this pittance that they earn in Social Security. So all of a sudden, it's the FanDuel of retirement plans. It is literally gambling away seniors. But this has always been the desire. It has always been the plan. And the only way they can do that is to remove the public element of it, make it private, and sell it that they're doing us a favor by eliminating the Ponzi scheme. But this is because people literally, stupidly, worthlessly think that it's taxes that are paying for it. And because they won't let go of this lie, because they have never heard of it, think I'm lying when I talk about it, have never read the actual Social Security law, have never read a piece of history, so they wouldn't have a clue. They are sold on this stuff and they will go along with this stuff, but it's really manufactured from oligarchy because the intent is to fatten the wallets of the rich and the Wall Street speculators to give them one more avenue to predate upon us. Just like in Europe right now, MIC is going to make big bucks because we pulled back, and now all of a sudden they're going to have to build their own huge jingoistic militaries. And you talk about death zone, you talk about real serious problems. You've never seen anything like what's coming.
I want to play the clip that gets you all hot and bothered, but it explains what you're talking about. This is I guess he was
John
technically
Rundle, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Look at that.
Yeah. Let's play Alan Greenspan, the old dinosaur, former Federal Reserve chair, explaining how, like, technically taxes don't actually pay for federal government spending, and America can always create new money. Colin, if you have that.
So having personal retirement accounts is another way of making a future retiree benefits more secure for their retirement. And also, do you believe that personal retirement accounts as a component to a system of solvency does help improve solvency? Because when you have a personal retirement account policy, it's accompanied with a benefit offset. With that feature in place, do you believe that personal retirement accounts can help us achieve solvency for the system and make those future retiree benefits more secure?
Well, I wouldn't say that the pay-as-you-go benefits are insecure in the sense that there's nothing to prevent the federal government from creating as much money as it wants and paying it to somebody. The question is, how do you set up a system which assures that the real assets are created which those benefits are employed to purchase? So it's not a question of security. It's a question of the structure of a financial system which assures that the real resources are created for retirement as distinct from the cash. The cash itself is nice to have, but it's got to be in the context of the real resources being created at the time those benefits are paid.
Steve, if you could break that down in English, I'm understanding it. Social Security, there isn't a solvency issue because the government just creates money. So we have enough money to pay out Social Security, infinity and beyond.
Well, there's a moron named John Rundle in the audience saying, you don't know what you're talking about. And I love when people do that because it just shows how fucked we are as a society, because people that heard Greenspan, heard me, could do the research on their own if they weren't like worthless. They would really look into it instead of saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. And they would find out that I actually really in spades know exactly what I'm talking about. And they would start fighting back against the things that are happening right now. What Alan Greenspan said is, hey, look, we can spend as much money. We could give retirees $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month. There's no limit to what we could give them. However, is the real resources available for purchase, or will we run into a bunch of shortages? Would it drive prices up? Because one of the things that drive prices up and cause inflation are having excess spending available to us where there's demand for something, but there isn't enough of it. And so people are chasing after those things, and people, whether they have to or not is irrelevant. Whether it's a fact of God or not is another story. But what they do is they take those signals that, hey, you've got disposable income. We're going to go ahead and produce, or we're not going to produce. Look what is happening right now with the egg oligopoly. You got hen producers and you've got egg producers, and they're like the OPEC of eggs right here, right now. And they're purposely withholding production because they have these super hens they've created and they've got a patent on to create these special hens that lay super amounts of eggs. And they're saying to the small providers, if you do this, we're going to run you out of business. We'll put out a bunch of eggs. We'll drop the bottom out of the price. You'll lose. We'll put you out of business. All this stuff. This is exactly the kind of thing that happens in industry. If you don't know how business operates, they look at signals. They look at whether or not people have disposable income, and then they all chase after it. That's what you saw during the pandemic. These businesses were creating 1,000% profit, gouging in crisis, and in these horrible situations. They're literally profiteering. So the issue is we don't pass laws that can stop them from profiteering. We don't put caps on profit gains. We don't do any kind of capital controls. We have no kind of meaningful regulation that stops them. And you've covered it over and over again with East Palestine. What regulation? Who cares? They're going to fucking do whatever they want to do. So ultimately, we are at the mercy of business. And because government doesn't cover for us, they cover for them, we're in this screwed position. So as you think about what Social Security is supposed to be a payment for somebody who either A, is old and retired and has worked all their life, because they do count what you worked. So that's how they calculate what you get. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be any of that. We could literally create a basic income for a whole set of people that we want using the Social Security system. Eliminate FICA altogether, because it is the most regressive tax of all time. Because who does it hit? It hits the poor. It hurts the working poor. It hurts those people that are lower middle class, middle class, upper middle class even. But what it does is it is a tax, a thing that pulls money away from people here and now that need it right now, that are missing teeth or all kinds of other things. They're literally putting off important decisions about their health, putting off decisions about their family, about their children, about everything, because they're paying all this money into FICA that doesn't need to be done. There's no need for it. The reason why FDR did that was because if you remember what happened in 1917, there was an awful lot of buzz around the world about socialists and communists taking over. So the anti-commie, the Red Scare shit was live and proud during FDR's time. So what he said was, hey, if I create this pay-in thing, it's not real, by the way, even if you like it, even if you're one of those people, oh, I love it, I paid into it. It's not real. They delete your money just like all taxes, because it is the currency issuer, okay? So every dollar that comes from, when you look at your Social Security check, it doesn't say Social Security Trust Fund. It says the Treasury. The Treasury writes those bills every single time. It's always new money. So what do you call it there? Greenspan was saying is, we can give you whatever check you want, but is the economy robust enough to absorb the spend that we're giving you, or does it just become inflationary?